I call to order the January 12, 2026 meeting of the Henderson County Board of Public Education. I would like to welcome everyone here this afternoon. I'm presiding today because Mrs. Holt is out of town unavoidably. She will be joining us remotely at some point, so if our tech team will let me know when she is chiming in, I would appreciate it. So at this time, I would like for us to stand for our presentation of colors. North Henderson High School, Air Force Junior ROTC. If you will please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. You may be seated. Board members, you have your agenda before you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second? All those in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now we're ready for our staff and student recognitions.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. It's my pleasure to share this month's shorter staff and student recognition. We're in January, so we just finished up a semester, so this will be a little bit lighter than some of the meetings that we have. But I want to bring up two very special guests who are going to honor one of our very own with something that she has earned as a classroom teacher. So I would like to invite up NCAT Deputy Executive Director, Dr. Karen Sumner, and also Julie Von Henner, who is one of our very own teachers at North Henderson High School, for this presentation on behalf of NCAT.
It is wonderful to see you all and be here today. This is homecoming for me, and I can't tell you how ecstatic I am to celebrate one of our own. Good evening, Superintendent Garrett and members of the Henderson County Board of Education. Would Sarah Schwartz please come forward at this time? Hey, Sarah. I want to stand here so they can look at you while we celebrate you. On behalf of the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching, it is my privilege to announce that Sarah Schwartz, a third grade teacher at Mills River Elementary School, has been selected as a finalist for the NCAT 2026 Burroughs Wellcome Fund North Carolina Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. You don't have to say that to win. So. This recognition celebrates Ms. Schwartz's outstanding contributions as a beginning teacher and the meaningful impact she is already making on her students and the broader community here in Henderson County Public Schools. I would like to recognize Chad Otten, principal of Mills River Elementary School, and Dr. Shannon Marlowe, beginning teacher coordinator, for their support of Ms. Schwartz as well. I would really also like to recognize Julie Von Henner. She is a member of our NCAP Board of Trustees and has been an invaluable resource as we have gone through all kinds of growth and changes, and we're so thankful for her service. The Beginning Teacher of the Year Award was created to recognize the creativity, resilience, and commitment of first-year teachers across North Carolina. Each year, more than 7,000 new educators step into classrooms statewide. And this award shines a light on those who rise to the challenge and represent the very best of our profession. Ms. Schwartz will be attending a week of leadership-focused professional development with her fellow finalists in March, where interviews and portfolio review will be conducted by a panel of judges from across the state to determine the next Beginning Teacher of the Year. On March 12th, NCAT will celebrate all finalists and announce the winner at a recognition event at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem. At NCAT, we are committed to advancing teaching as an art and a profession, and we're thrilled to celebrate Ms. Schwartz as a shining example of that mission. Please join me in congratulating her on this outstanding achievement. Work it. I love it. And would it be possible to get some photos? Okay, thank you. All right.
Did you really? That's awesome. At Western? What color?
So as they make their way back, I've had the opportunity to be in Ms. Schwartz's room several times, and earlier this year, I spent the day at Mills River, and just to watch her in her classroom is absolutely amazing. So if you have a chance to go by, I'm sure she has some things that you can help do with her young ones, because they're always running in 87 different ways, but they have a plan and they have growth. So certainly, Sarah, we appreciate you, we congratulate you, and we look forward to you bringing back the title. So good luck. And those are our recognitions this month, ma'am.
Okay. And Dr. Summer, thank you so much. I hope you shared with Sarah, she needs to stay here and don't fly the coop on us, okay? Thank you. Just so you're not recruiting for her, that's fine. Okay, and now we are ready for our program highlight. Dr. Marlowe.
So back in the fall, you approved the school improvement plans for our schools. But there were lots of questions about how they get there, what kind of data they consider. And so we have asked two of our schools today to share, what does that planning process actually look like? And one of the things that we did, it just worked out that they happen to be two of our schools who are purple schools. But they are in very different places in where they are building their plans from. So one is really working on building a new plan that will sustain their work moving forward, and the other is working on improving the current plan they have that is continuing to work well for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Amy Cleveland, principal of Dana Elementary, and then she's going to talk to you about building the Dana Elementary School Improvement Plan, and then she's going to hand it over to Michelle Miller, Tracy Queen, and Kristen Rogers, who are the team that will talk about the North Henderson School Improvement Plan.
Didn't know I had to learn how to flip slides, so we're going to figure this out together. So good afternoon. Oh, you're so sweet. Since I have the mic, I wanted to start off by saying thank you to our board members. I know it is School Board Appreciation Month, but please know that we do appreciate your efforts and the advocacy all year long. I am so proud of the work that we are doing at Dana Elementary, As I talk about our school improvement process, I just want to remind you all that the best way to truly know the needs and the successes of our schools is to be present in our schools and see the hard work that happens every day. If you would like to visit Dana and see all that we are doing to meet the needs of our students, just get with Mr. Garrett and set that up, and we welcome it. My participation in today's meeting is to walk you through how we built our school improvement plan. Last year at Dana, our school improvement plan was wiped clean and we started all over, simplifying the plan to speak to our immediate needs and our attainable goals. As we know from our work with Leader and me, if we want to be successful and meet our goals, we need to stick to 2 or 3 and focus on that work. It's very easy to walk through a school and say, well, that could be better, or that needs to change, or that could improve. But the reality is, we weigh the urgent against the important, and we look at a long-term plan that is attainable and sustainable and will move us in the right direction. Creating a school improvement plan may seem like an easy thing to do, and as a new principal, I'm here to tell you that it is not. The jargon, requirements, and funding guidelines are challenging to learn, so the amount of time and effort that is put into creating a plan, proving the work with evidence through our Title I crate, and allocating and prioritizing funding is a really heavy lift. I am so thankful that our district leadership stepped right in to help me with navigating it all, including Dr. Marlowe, Dr. Justice, and Dr. Wilson. This summer, I met with Peggy Marshall and Kayla Castro, our district Leader and Me coaches, to identify Dana's most important and significant needs, simplifying them into 2 goals and aligning all of the work. During my first year at Dana, we focused on the culture of the school. We had a transition in leadership and high staff turnover. Through one-on-one meetings with staff, surveys, and feedback, we recognized that we needed to invest in each other and in the school that we love so that we can be the very best for our students. We streamlined our schedule, established systems, created supports, eliminated distractions, boosted morale, and provided consistency and transparency. Through the school improvement process, the integration of our school improvement team and our Lighthouse team, and with consistent and focused monthly meetings that kept us on track and accountable, we met our goals. This year, we knew that our focus had to be on student growth and in building capacity in our students and in our teachers. We have 2 goals, or 2 big rocks at Dana. Every student will grow in reading and math fluency. Every student will be a leader. These 2 goals focus on building both strong academic foundations and the habits needed for long-term success. Fluency in reading and math allows students to focus on understanding, problem solving, and higher level thinking with confidence rather than on those basic skills. Developing leadership skills helps students take ownership of their learning, stay motivated, and apply effective academic behaviors that directly support achievement. The most important part of our 2 big rocks at Dana is that they are a part of everything that we do every day. At the individual level, every student created a personal mission statement, academic goals, and leadership goals. These goals are tracked and reflected on continuously. Teachers also created personal mission statements and have shared their personal and professional goals with their students. At the classroom level, the grade level specials and resource classrooms created class-wide goals as they relate to academics and leadership. These included growth in reading and math fluency, participation in classroom initiatives and challenges, positive behavior, classroom management, and leadership. Grade levels then created accountability measures and competed by comparing data on charts and graphs in the hallways. School-wide, we track our reading and math fluency through the collection of pom-poms, and leaders are highlighted each month on celebratory boards. Goals are reviewed and reflected on every Wildcat Wednesday during our WIG, or Wildly Important Goals, Wednesdays. We wear our purple, we show our pride, and we celebrate our successes and adjust our goals. When we meet for our school improvement Lighthouse team meetings, which we have coined our SILT meetings, we reviewed our 2 big rocks, our indicators, and our action steps. We highlight the work that we did the previous month, the results or data from that month, and we look at what we need to adjust. Everything that we do is intentional, data-driven, and actionable. They will achieve results. I included the two pictures that you see that are collective focus on our school goals through our school improvement plan. It has made a huge difference. So the one is where we were with the pom-poms in October, and the other one shows the growth in December. Every day, students walk by our Fluency Frenzy board and see how the bins are filling up with their own accomplishments and with the accomplishments of their classmates, friends, and Wildcats from other grade levels. So as they show growth in reading, as they show growth in math, they are awarded a pom-pom and they put it in the canister, and those canisters are filling up. They have pride in what they're doing. They celebrate with their friends. The teachers make a big deal. School-wide, we make a big deal on all the growth that we are having. Every day we celebrate how we're growing, improving, and taking charge of our learning and our leading. Every student, every day. The goals we created within our school improvement plan are not all yearly goals. Some span 2 or 3 years, and that is because the hard work that we are doing will not be completed this year. We know that there's a lot to do and it will take us some time, but we are all in it for the long-term results. Go Wildcats. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn it over to the team from North Henderson.
Good afternoon. I'm Tracy Queen. I'm one of the assistant principals at North. I'm going to talk about our first goal. It focuses on academic proficiency, which aims for a 5% increase in Math 1, Math 3, Biology, and English 2, while also striving to meet or exceed expected growth in all of our EOC areas. This demonstrates a commitment to improving student outcomes across core subjects. In the last 10 out of 11 years, North Henderson has exceeded academic growth with the exception of the year following COVID. Last year, we were in the top 5% of academic growth across all high schools in North Carolina. A big part of our improvement is capitalizing on continuing to increase our proficiency scores, which we have done each of the last 4 years. Our first semester data this year is looking really good. We're already seeing an increase of 5 to 7% in each of our EOC areas for proficiency. Right now, we're focused on finishing the second semester strong. Some of the strategies that we use are common planning periods for teachers. We as administrators work within our PLCs, and we work with and involve our instructional coach. We also look at and measure data closely, providing lots of teacher feedback. We also focus a lot on goal setting and academic accountability in our lead classrooms. And as a small token of appreciation to the board, we would like to present each board member with a We Are Knights t-shirt that was designed for our entire student body that we were able to give out as a Christmas gift before Christmas. Thanks to donations from our community sponsors that are listed on the back, and it also proudly highlights our school's academic achievements. Now Ms. Miller is going to talk to you about our second big rock.
Good afternoon. Our second goal addresses standardized testing, emphasizing the development and implementation of strategies to boost proficiency on the ACT and ACT Work Keys exams, which are crucial for college and career readiness. For pre-ACT and ACT, our teachers support students by helping them understand what to expect on test day and by teaching intentional test-taking strategies such as pacing, question analysis, and confidence building. Our goal is to increase the number of students earning a score of 19 or higher on the ACT, a benchmark that expands both career and college opportunities. For ACT Work Keys, our emphasis is on relevance and real-world application. Students learn what the exam measures and know how Work Keys certifications can be used in their future careers. We intentionally involve our CTE teachers by providing practice assessments aligned to their content area, helping students make direct connections between classroom learning and workforce expectations. We also partnered with community sponsors who provided breakfast for our seniors and spoke directly with students about how Work Key certifications are valued by employers right here in Henderson County. This reinforced that these credentials have immediate value in our local workforce. Together, these efforts reflect our commitment to implementing strategic, purposeful approaches that improve proficiency on the ACT and ACT work keys while preparing students for success after graduation. Now, Ms. Rogers, who is our SIT team chair, is going to talk about our third Big Rock.
Our third and final Big Rock, it focuses on the importance of inclusivity and cultural awareness by planning multicultural outreach events. The purpose of this goal is to strengthen the connection between the school and our diverse community, which will foster a more inclusive environment for our students and our faculty. To accomplish this goal, one of the events we plan on hosting is an event in the spring where we're going to assist all of our families with all things technology, like logging on to Infinite Campus, how to use Infinite Campus, and checking their email accounts, simple things, complex, all types. And they'll also be able to answer questions in their native language because we have translators present. So the goal of that is to prevent language barriers because a lot of our families feel like that is a barrier for them. On a smaller scale, I'm also the advisor to a action group for our lead program called the Lead Ambassadors. And in that group, I have 23 kids in that group. 18 of them are bilingual. The main focus of this group is attending and assisting events at our North Community events and also our feeder elementary and middle school. While they're at these events, they have different roles such as translation services, since the majority of them do speak another language. And they give directions where these events are hosted, and they assist with the facilitators of these events if they need help. And the majority of the events that we assist with are our feeder elementary schools, such as Dana. They do a great job of reaching out to us. And it means a lot to my kids to be able to go back to the locations of where they went to school, because some of them went to multiple elementary schools, and to also just go help their community members, because being able to help means a lot to them because they had the same struggles that the families of these communities do. And together, our multicultural events, along with the Lead Ambassadors, will continue to bridge the gap between our community and our school. Thank you.
So it'll be interesting to see some of you all who may not be knights wear these knight T-shirts, right, Miss Norman? I know you were a knight, but as I look around the table, I see some Falcons and Bearcats.
I have a very nice purple sweatshirt, thank you, from North.
So our last slide is just about questions. If you had questions for either of the teams or both, or any questions about the school improvement planning process.
I just want to thank both principals for your leadership. Improving schools is not easy work. It is very long and hard and focused. And I think one of the hardest things is the focus. And Amy, I appreciate what you said about there are many things we could focus on. One of the hallmarks of a low-performing school is trying to focus on too many things. And so I appreciate your limited focus, as with you, Dr. Shepherd, and thank you for your leadership, because it starts with a vision at the top.
Well, and being able to see our schools work together, and our high schools and our middle schools and our elementary schools, because where, your struggles might be in your elementary school, but you got high schoolers that are, and being able to connect them back to each other and their community, because it takes, we are, Falcons and Bearcats and Knights, but we're Henderson County at the heart of it, and supporting each other is huge for everybody to succeed. So thank you for everything you're doing, from our littlest to our oldest.
Okay, thank you. Hang out.
And now for our school features. Dr.
Back
Marlowe?
again. So the theme today is kind of around empowering students. So I'm going to introduce our folks who are going to bring up not just to speak about the programs, but they are also, I believe, going to introduce students that they have all brought today, which is the best part. So they will just move through, and we will start with West Henderson with Mrs. Allison Garrett, who will be coming up and introducing her students as well. And then you will hear from Dr. Katie Bradley at Hillendale and Kirby Farley at Innovative High School.
Good evening, everyone. I did not plan on coming up here. I was going to have my students do all the work, but I'm Allison Garrett. I am the marketing teacher and DECA advisor at West Henderson High School, and I am very happy that we have Aubrey Garrett and Cole Reasoner here to talk to you all about Mr. WHHS. So I'm going to give them the floor.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aubrey Garrett. I have been a part of Mr. WHHS for 4 years as an escort and a student MC.
And my name is Cole Reasoner. Nice to see many of you again. And for the past 4 years, I have also been helping out with Mr. WHHS. The first 3 years, I have been a backstage coordinator and helped choreograph the opening number and teach the number as well. And this past year, I decided to finally compete myself for my senior year, and luckily took home the title of Mr. WHHS myself.
So I know some people are wondering what Mr. WHHS is. So it is a all-male pageant at West Henderson High School that raises money for families in need. All of these boys raise $200 minimum in order to compete, and it is completely student-run. From backstage, people writing scripts, MCs are choreographed here. So it is a completely student-run event to help raise money for families.
Now, the biggest part of this is being able to support those in our community who need it most. So by raising money through this event, we were able to support families in need in Henderson County Public Schools. In our first year alone, which was 4 years ago, the 2022-2023 school year, we raised in our first year just around $13,000 to help families in need in our community. In the second year alone, we jumped from $13,000 to $21,000. In our third year, we combined efforts with 2 other schools in different counties, McDowell High School and Watauga High School, in a joint effort to help with Hurricane Helene relief. And together, between the 3 schools, we raised over $100,000 for Hurricane Helene relief. And in just this past year, the 2025-2026 school year, we raised over $33,000 just as our school alone to help families in need. And over the past 4 years, we have raised a total of over $168,000.
There are a few things that go into our Mr. WHHS pageant. The first is our Man Enough videos, which serves as an intro to our boys and why they are man enough to compete. The second is an opening dance, which Cole has been generous enough to choreograph. It gets the audience excited and just is a good opening for the boys. We then have our wares, which is based on a prompt that the boys receive, and they get an outfit based on that. We have a talent, which can be funny or serious. And then finally, we have our questions, which go to our top 5 contestants to decide the winner.
Now, not only do we just have the winner of Mr. WHHS, we want to reward all the boys for putting themselves out there and, really just showing their community what it is to support them. So we have a various amount of awards to support them as well. We have the Mr. Sexy Legs Award, the Mr. Moneymaker Award, the Fantastic Four Award, People's Choice, Family's Choice, Mr. Congeniality, and the grand title of Mr. WHHS.
Throughout our time, we have impacted so many schools in Henderson County, which is where the money goes to families in need within our school system. We have impacted over 13 of our schools, and this past year, we impacted West Henderson, East Henderson, and then the county office. So that's all we have for y'all. Do you have any questions for us?
So, Ms. Garrett, you failed to share that 100% of the donations go to these families. You all do not keep any of this money, correct?
Yes.
And I like that you've reached out to your community. I know you guys do raffle baskets, and it's another way for you to get your other schools involved, and a lot of your schools will sponsor a basket to have to raffle and donate. And so families get to be involved. That I know typically on that night, there's a lot of things going on in Henderson County. So it's not easy for parents to be at everything, but I've been able to see it twice, but you all do a phenomenal job in being able to put yourselves out there and again, work within your community, and then bringing in other districts last year was very cool to be able to see. And so just good job to you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome job and a service to your community at large. I too like the way that you've spread this around and embrace more than just your school community. You're looking at the needs of our school system. And I also love that it's student-led. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right. I think we got the better of that, well.
Easily the best
Thank you,
educator in
Mrs.
the family.
Garrett.
Cole, before you leave, let's congratulate you all for back-to-back state titles for the West Henderson cheer team. I found that out today, so congratulations to you, and also the JV squad won as well, correct? All right, so brought 2 titles home. Congratulations.
Awesome.
All right. This is a great day for y'all because y'all get to meet some Hillendale Huskies.
All right.
Just know, this is a great day. All right. So I'm going to we've got Lucy. This is Lucy George. I'm going to introduce all of them. Okay, this is Teppy and Ellie, and we got Cassidy and Cadence. And Riley, and Lucy's going to be talking to us. But GEM is actually a program, they're going to tell you more about what they actually do, but it's a program that we've partnered for 9 years with United Way. We were one of the first ones to do it at Hillendale, and it is phenomenal. It's for our girls, and it stands for Girls Empowered, and it is a great program. We have our sponsors, so this is Miss Jeffrey, Miss Orr, and they work with them. Then Katie Gash is back here, and she's now the, what do they call you? The GEM manager. She's the GEM manager. So I wanted to make sure y'all got to introduce them. But Lucy, I'm going to turn it over to you. All right? You good? Okay, she's ready.
Hi, I'm Lucy George, and this GEM is an amazing place to learn that you are smarter, caring, powerful, and more confident in yourself. And you just need, it's deep down in you, but you just need somebody to blossom you like GEM. And GEM's like a warm family and a community to be around. And it's all that family that you go around with.
So tell them what you did every time. What were some of the things that y'all did at GEM?
We had 10 weeks and we learned about empowerment, enlightening, and confidence, and that's just some of the few that we've learned.
And you had some
Awesome.
speakers, right?
Yeah.
And then tell them about the dream board.
So our dream board, we got to we did some questions, and we did this dream board, and we put pictures down of what we want to be, what we want to do, and what we have done in our life.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So I keep pressuring United Way to also get a Boys Empowered at some point. But it's really a great program that really helps these ladies get ready for middle school. We talk a lot about that, like empowering yourself, and we all know what middle school's like. We've all been through it. And so it is a phenomenal, it's been a phenomenal resource for us, and we're really thankful to United Way for doing that for us and doing that program. So go Huskies, right?
So thank you, students, for being here. We love the shirts; they're outstanding. And I have the pleasure of serving on the United Way board, and this is a super, super popular discussion each and every year. We love to get those reports; all the board members do, and it is something that has grown into other schools as well, and we hope to see that continue to grow. So thank you.
Innovative High School, Mrs. Farley.
Thank you, Dr. Evis, and good afternoon, board members. Thank you for having us here. I'm here to talk to you about our clubs at the Innovative High School. We're a little bit of a non-traditional place, as many of you already know. And a part of that is that we don't have athletics like the traditional high schools do. We don't have as many opportunities for students to get involved as, say, a North or an East or a West or Hendo. So in an effort to engage our students, to keep them tied to our school, and make them feel at home and connect with one another, we've created student clubs. These take place every other Friday, at the very beginning of our school day, and they've become an integral part of our school, and a part that each of our students really looks forward to. Each staff member in our building hosts a student-led club, and we offer everything from do-it-yourself club to dodgeball club to music club to Dungeons and Dragons. And we also have several clubs that meet after the school days, such as Volleyball Club and Young Scientists. And we have a few new clubs this year that include Battle of the Books, Mock Trial, and Sources of Strength, which is a peer mentoring program. I brought some students with me tonight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and talk to you a little bit about their clubs and why they feel like this is an important piece of IHS.
Hello, my name is Marissa. I'm the vice president of Key Club, and it's a volunteering club that we partake in as like a group, and we go out into the community as a group and volunteer. We've worked with Habitat for Humanity, the I Am Retail Faith Store, and also the Sugarloaf Elementary, where we go and read to the little kids or play with them and see what they're doing that day. It's really like my favorite club. I've grown to love being part of the community. As someone that wasn't really involved in the community before, it's really helped me see the importance of just helping others. And it's definitely important to IHS because we offer opportunities to our other students to help the community.
Hi, my name is Madeline Evans. I'm the president of Young Scientists Club, and then I'm also the treasurer of our student government. I'm also a member of Key Club, which is such an incredible opportunity. So Young Scientists, it's so great to be able to see our students go into these elementary schools and teach fifth graders specifically about science. We have an outreach coming up next Thursday with Hendersonville Elementary, where we're going to be helping them practice their science fair presentations. And I love being able to see our IHS students, seeing them be leaders to these younger kids. We also, through the Young Scientist program, we have a pen pal program where we send letters back and forth between fifth grade students and our high schoolers. And that's another great area of mentorship, where it's mentorship for our students and also handwriting practice for the elementary schoolers. And I participate in the pen pal program as well, and I love getting the letters back and hearing what they did over winter break and what their Thanksgiving plans were. And it's great to have just a little fifth grade buddy. I'm also involved in SGA. And currently we're in the process of planning prom, which I love to do every year. It's so much fun to be able to put on an event for our whole school to get to see the finished product. And I've learned a lot of great leadership skills through our clubs. And I just love our school and our clubs and all the opportunities.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah. I am the leader of the Fellowship of Christian Students at IHS, and I'm also a member of the Young Scientists Club. Within FCS is what we call it, because we're not FCA, we're not athletes, but we're still Christians, and we're ready to get out there and spread our faith. And we've had a lot of opportunities to spread our faith in an educational environment and in a student-led way. With our See You at the Pole, where we all go around the flagpole one morning in September and we pray and we just encourage other students to get out there and rejoice in our faith. And Young Scientists has also been a great club that has given me a lot of opportunity and a lot of other students opportunity in our community with our elementary schools, and also to give presentations like this. We talked in front of the school board about 2 years ago about how our club was beginning and how it was just starting and how we were so excited to expand to other elementary schools. I also got the opportunity recently to talk in front of Hendersonville's Trout Unlimited branch, which was really exciting to present to them all of the work that we've done and how having trout in the classroom really helped us take that information to elementary schools and just have lots of fun with them. But I think our clubs at IHS have
brought our students from both Career Academy and early college together. I feel like there's, especially in FCS, we have about equal student body from both, and it's brought me specifically a lot of unlikely friendships and a lot of unlikely bonds between students and teachers, Career Academy and early college, and just building relationships that I'll never forget. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Diana Lopez, and I am our student body secretary and also the Young Scientist Outreach Leader. I'm also a proud member of the Key Club and AIM Club, and am also a part of IHS's mock trial this year as a prosecution attorney. Clubs give students a place to belong, a way to discover a new passion, and to build leadership skills and teamwork skills. As a small school, it's kind of hard to get involved, but I feel like any way you do that, there's always a positive outcome. They create connections between students, strengthen school community, and it makes IHS a place where everyone can feel included and inspired. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job, ladies.
So thank you all for being here and showing the different varieties. For the board's knowledge and the public's knowledge, the Young Scientist Club they're talking about is part of the Borough's Welcome Grant that Mr. Savage won to take those students and go into our elementary schools and teach them STEM. So, Mr. Savage, thanks for continuing to back that club, and watching that grow and expand into multiple elementary schools has been exciting. And just to see the unity that is being built at IHS over the clubs and the common interest is outstanding. So congratulations to all of you. I'm sorry, ma'am.
I could have said it better. Thank you. Okay, thank you all, students and school leaders, for participating in our school features this month. And we know that you have probably a lot of things to do, so if you want to head out, we totally understand. We are now down to our board member observations. I do want to say one thing. I would be remiss if I didn't share with you that Mrs. Dale is absent today as well due to the illness of a family member, and so our thoughts and prayers are with Sheila and her family. Board member observations at this time?
Well, I got the opportunity to go to Apple Valley Middle School, and it was the first time I'd ever been in Apple Valley. But one of the things that stood out, first of all, was that normally when we go and do our tours, we meet with administration. But this time we got to meet with the students. And it was a completely student-led tour. They were 7th grade students, so they kind of pulled them from the middle of the school, and they showed us everything. They asked questions. They were able to answer all of our questions. They were extremely knowledgeable about their school. They were very excited about their school. And they went through probably some, different details than what we would get from administration. Just from a student perspective, it was really neat to be able to see them excited about their schools and to kind of get to see their vision and some things that they are looking forward to. And one of the things that was nice was being able to see everywhere you went in the school, they had their student expectations up on the wall. They were very clear. They were very concise. It was everything from their, restroom policies to the hallways and car rider. So it gave students everywhere they went an opportunity to see those expectations and hold them accountable. And that was one of the things the students talked about, was how they are held accountable for their own actions as students. And being able to see that, it was a unique perspective to get to see that from the students' point of view. And also their WIG goals, which is their wildly important goals. That's something we're seeing across the district at all the different schools, similar to the elementary school with their little pom-poms and building their expectations and getting for the students to see them and for them to be able to be held accountable for where they're at and what they want to achieve. And their rewards are things that they want. Whether it's getting to sit where they want to at lunch, something just as simple as getting to eat with your friends, or, having extra time outside or whatever it might be. But it's things for them to work towards that they want to see in their schools. So it was a really good tour, and I appreciated being able to have the students lead us through it and answer all of our questions. So.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment on a couple things, but of course, went to Innovative High School, we did that, and I'll have to have Mr. Garrett kind of help on some of the technology that we saw when we were there. The coolest thing I've ever seen, technology-wise, but what it brought to the CTE and even, biology, chemistry, stuff like that, and it's something image,
Anatomage. It's
anatomage.
an anatomage table.
The coolest thing ever. Look it up. And if I'm right, we're the only K through 12
The
school.
only public school around that I know that has them, mostly universities have them. And we were able to use some federal funds that we're going to sunset in order to bring those in. So we have 4 smaller models at tabletop models at our comprehensive high schools. And then we have a full-size model that can stand up, that's human size at the Innovative High School.
And it was. Just to give you a small, so say our nursing group uses it. You have red blood cells and they're floating all around, and all of a sudden you can add some salt and some sodium in it, and then it shows how they kind of expand, they slow down. But the visual that these kids are getting, it's impressive. And so kudos to that was way before, I came on the board, but the forethought of getting something like that is impressive. The other, I didn't talk about it in December, but the North Carolina Theater Conference, it's the festival that they have. We actually had 3 high schools that participated in that, and they all came home with major awards. So congratulations to East, Hendersonville, and West. West were the champions, and they're actually headed to Chattanooga. That's not going to be a cheap kind of thing for them. So if you got some extra money laying around and you want to support them, please do it. How cool is that? Cole, that was here talking, is one of the lead actors, if you can imagine. And he's great. And you also brought up and mentioned we just brought home 2 state championships with the cheerleaders from the JV and the varsity at West Henderson High School. So our guys are just doing great.
I'll just quickly share. I went to Clear Creek this month, which was actually my first time there, and it was a great visit. I thoroughly enjoy all of our visits, all of the school features. It's just so incredible to get to know each school, and they're so different, which is incredible. It just matches the community that they're in and the way they do, and so I just really appreciate all of our schools just opening up to us every month and letting us come in and then coming and sharing things that you have going on. It's really helpful for us to get to know, each school and their personality and their community. But I'm just so proud and so thankful for all of our schools.
Okay, we're going to now move on to public comments. Per our board policy, we allow 30 minutes on our agenda for public comments, and we have 10 people going to come forward today, so we need to move through those very quickly. I'm going to call one person to come to the podium, ask another person to come up and be ready to go. I ask that all speakers please respect the 3 minutes so that all of our speakers can have an opportunity to speak. So I'm going to take these in the order in which they were handed to me, and we have first Diane North, and then we have Paul Watchenbaum. Diane?
Good afternoon. I'm Diane North, and I'm speaking for Joe Elliott, who just had knee surgery. Don't shoot the messenger. What do Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, West Virginia, Arkansas, and South Carolina have in common? All rank higher than North Carolina based on per capita public school spending, according to the latest rankings by the Education Law Center. In fact, North Carolina now ranks 50th. According to Joe, this new data feels like a gut punch. Several of us who regularly speak at these monthly meetings have implored you to publicly request Senator Moffitt, Representatives Balcom and Johnson to explain their positions on public school funding at our school board meeting. Perhaps you have been engaging with them in private conversations. If that's the case, then your efforts have been futile. It is now time for this board to make a public request for support from our representatives. Bill Lapsley, Chair of our County Commissioners, recently expressed his displeasure over their lack of support for the Edneyville Water Sewer Project funding in the General Assembly. He did it publicly and forcefully. Mr. Lapsley understands his first responsibility is to Henderson County citizens. It is past time for this board to take the same action. I ask you to come to the next board meeting with a resolution to be given publicly to Moffett, Balcom, and Johnson. You asked to sit on this board, and you pledged to work for our county schools. It is now time for you to do your duty. Since you took the oath of office, your first responsibility has been to our 12,000 students. Almost none of them were of age to vote for you. I do not know if there are unwritten rules of comportment, that there is a sense of political party loyalty that guides your acceptance of the assault on our schools. I do not know how you can look at our administrators, our students, our parents, and above all, our students, and feel your silence is good enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ms. Cannon, if you will come up, please. Are you ready to go?
Okay.
Paul?
Thank you for this opportunity to address the board and the public at large. Next Monday, the nation will celebrate the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday with a holiday. Schools will be closed. We will be called to remember many lasting lessons. Some commentators and politicians will trivialize King's life and works by quoting one sentence from 1963. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. In 1963, our nation judged people by the color of their skin. Numerous laws and rigid social structures diminished and controlled people of color while advancing privileged people with so-called white skin. The question to ask on MLK Day and on every day is, what has changed? In education, housing, insurance, employment, policing, and so on, there are still barriers based on the color of one's skin. As the school board, one critical thing you should be asking is, what can public education do to fight that, including by explicitly welcoming and valuing immigrants to America as fellow human beings, not as vermin and scum. The current president wants to make America great again in the way it was before civil rights. He would dearly like to erase Dr. King's righteous ministry and his difficult lessons. School board members' children and grandchildren, and the students in Henderson County schools have questions that should not be evaded. Why do barely trained and minimally restrained ICE agents fire on Americans, including Renee Nicole Good? Why do cynical politicians then call such slaughter self-defense? When America was great, in quotes, before civil rights, segregation was preserved by a paramilitary force known as the Ku Klux Klan. The next generation in our schools asks, what have the people in power today done from their learnings from Dr. King? What will you say? What will you trivialize? What will you exalt? What truths will you explore to help our children recognize the root causes of our current unease and the disease of racism? What will you say? Thank you.
Ms. Cannon, and up next will be Mr. Robert Cannon.
before I get my timing, I want to ask people not to applaud so that we can keep on moving faster. So if I can have that deleted from my time. But I think that's true for all the speakers. One thing I think that all of us want for our children is that our schools are safe places for our students. That's why you as a school board strongly supports Henderson County Sheriff's Department placing a school resource officer at each of our schools. And the SROs provide not only a law enforcement presence to protect the students and teachers, they work to build positive relationships with the students so that they feel safe. Another example of you recognize the importance of safety in our schools is your support of the West Henderson High Civics class proposal in May to put a medical safety kit in each classroom. I was impressed. The way that they put the lessons they were learning in civics class into practice. However, a safe place for students is more than a space where they are protected from harm and violence. It's a place where each student feels accepted and welcome. Even more than that, it's a place where they feel secure, that they are not an outsider, expected to fit in. And that's why our students need teachers and staff who look like them, not for purposes of DEI, but so that the children feel like they belong. To help our Hispanic and Black children feel safe, the school board needs to continue to focus on recruiting, developing, and retaining teachers of color. Students feel safer and more at home when the teachers look like them and when they hear familiar words and accents, whether is language tinged with Black dialect, a country drawl, or Spanish overtones. In addition, students need books and other instructional materials whose lead characters look like them. If a child is a boy, he's going to feel like he can only be a follower if all the leaders in the books are girls. If she is white, she's going to feel like she doesn't belong if all the characters in videos are Black. If they're having to translate information for the adults at home, they will feel a connection when they read a story about a child who is doing the same thing. And thus, safety and security about more than protecting our school children from harm and injury. It is about ensuring the total well-being of all our children and making them feel like they belong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. You're up. Sue Bradburn, if you could be ready next. Mr. Cannon, welcome.
I speak today on behalf of Henderson County Public Schools Strong. We believe it is important to have well-funded public schools. Budget season is fast approaching. And as members of the school board, you are in an awkward position. You don't actually control any source of funding. You know, funding for our public schools comes from the state and federal governments and from the county commissioners. So why should you spend hours preparing a budget request for the county commissioners? I think there are two important reasons. First, so that you can scrutinize the budget and ensure that taxpayer funds are well spent. You are the guardians of taxpayer dollars. Second, so that you understand how much funding is needed for Henderson County Public Schools and can advocate for that funding. The district website says, our vision is that every student will achieve success and graduate prepared for career, college, and life. Are you, as a member of the board, committed to that vision? If so, are you ready to advocate for the schools, to explain to our representatives in the legislature to the county commissioners, and to your fellow citizens why our schools need and deserve to be well-funded. You are the foremost advocates for Henderson County Public Schools. And your role as advocate has never been more important. We are on the brink of a crisis. A recent report indicates that the level of funding North Carolina provides its public schools has dropped to 50th in the nation. We're scraping rock bottom. Federal funding is more likely to decrease than remain stable. The county commissioners have many funding priorities and limited funds. However, the needs of our public schools have not decreased. Henderson County students, teachers, and staff deserve high-quality schools. It's your responsibility to provide them. So, members of the school board, I ask you, what's your plan to advocate and work for funding Henderson County Public Schools? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. Mrs. Bradburn, and then we'll ask Ms. Donna Owens if she will come up and be ready to go. Welcome, Ms. Bradburn.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I'd like to read you two scriptures. The first one is from Colossians 3:12 through 17. It says, God has chosen you and made you his holy people. He loves you. So always do these things. Show mercy to others. Be kind, humble, gentle, and patient. Get along with each other and forgive each other. If someone does wrong to you, forgive that person because the Lord forgave you. Do all these things, but most important, love each other. Love is what holds you all together in perfect unity. Let the peace that Christ gives control your Let the peace that Christ gives control your thinking, because you were all called together in one body to have peace. Always be thankful. Let the teaching of Christ live in you richly. Use all wisdom to teach and instruct each other by singing praise, hymns, and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to God. Everything you do or say should be done to obey Jesus, your Lord, and in all you do, give thanks to God, the Father, through Jesus. And the next scripture I'd like to read to you is Matthew 5:33, and the Lord said, You have heard that it was said to those of old, You shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord what you have sworn. But I say to you, do not take an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. And do not take an oath by your heart, by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. Thank you for your time and have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Ms. Owens, and then we have Sharon Burlingame, if you will come down and be ready after Ms. Owens.
Good afternoon. I read from God's Word. Now it shall come to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all his commandments, which I command you today, that the Lord your God will set you up high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, because you obey the voice of the Lord your God. Blessed shall you be in the city, blessed shall you be in the country. Blessed shall you be when you go in, and blessed shall you be when you go out. The Lord will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before your face. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. The Lord will command the blessings on all in your storehouses and in all to which you set your hand, and he will bless you in the land which the Lord your God has given you. The Lord will establish you as a holy people to himself, just as he has sworn to you, if you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk in his ways. The Lord will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. And the Lord will make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above only and not be beneath, if you heed the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today, and are careful to observe them. So you shall not turn aside from any of the words which I command you this day to the right or to the left. These are blessings from our God that we have been enjoying for years as this nation has grown, because our forefathers built this nation on a Christian worldview. But as time has passed, pride and rebellion in our hearts has pushed our nation away from following after godly principles. And now we see the blessings getting less and less. We see turbulence and violence and confusion getting greater and greater. We're leaving, what are we leaving for our children? Don't we owe them the best of God's promises? This is our watch. The responsibility falls on all of us. So what shall we do? Can this be fixed? Can this nation get turned around and enjoy all of God's blessings on us, and more importantly, on our children? The answer is yes, and God tells us exactly how. He says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Thank you.
Ms. Burlingame, and then next we have Reed Barwick. If you will come up, please, and be ready to go. Welcome, Ms. Burlingame.
Thank you. Good evening, board members and staff. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate you taking public comment. I taught 30 years in the schools, and Clear Creek Elementary was one of the places I was fortunate enough to be. Always got moved when we needed more space. And we would like to call attention to the success of Clear Creek Elementary School in educating economically disadvantaged students and students who identify as Black and Hispanic. It's one of 3 schools in the county, Glen Marlow Elementary and North Hendersonville High School are the others, in which at least 50% of students in all 3 categories scored grade level proficient on end of grade testing. Even among those schools, Clear Creek stands out because the performance levels in those 3 categories of students increased at least 3 of the past 4 years. It would be wonderful or useful to know the best practices that are prompting such good success. And it's a fantastic achievement, and I congratulate the students, teachers, staff, and principal of Clear Creek on their accomplishments. We all wanted to give a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burlingame. Mr. Barwick and Ms. Silvius, if you will be ready to come.
Good afternoon. My name is Reed Barwick. I'm a natural born citizen of the United States and a citizen of Henderson County, North Carolina. 3 minutes for citizens to exercise part of their First Amendment right before this secular body. 3 minutes to quote scripture from the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Torah, or the Quran. 3 minutes to read the formal oath many of us have given to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States and protect us against enemies, foreign and domestic. To defend the Constitution of the state of North Carolina. 3 minutes to read oaths we have taken, other oaths, like, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country. Or we spoke only a few minutes ago, pledging liberty and justice for all, as we have done since we've been children. 3 minutes to address those in D.C., Raleigh, and local who have broken those oaths and promises to support, nurture, and fulfill the obligations to our government and to this public school administration and employees. But I'm not going to do that today. I will address what was spoken last October by a member of the school board of the Secular Government Oversight Board of Education, spoken during board members' comments. I will address the board member giving us literally her ABCs of proper Christian behavior, of her personal self-piety from her secular position. It was inappropriate and possibly offensive to families of the other denominations and Christian communities that comprise our 12,000 students of this public school system. I hope that in your final thoughts and prayers this evening, you may ask forgiveness from those families thinking the zealousness as a member of the secular government body was appropriate or acceptable or in the best interest of our public school system and our total Henderson County community. Thank you.
Ms. Sylvia's, and last, Katie Gash, if you'll be ready to go. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're not going to read to us today, are you?
No.
Thank you.
I mean, I am, but not what I did before. I'm going to read from an article, but not. So I'm Cher Sylvius. I'm here to talk about the books again. And I'm going to read this. Why are explicit books and other materials denied to prisoners available to children in school libraries? That's the question asked by David Stokely, a former Texas inmate who is highlighting what he calls a glaring hypocrisy and access to reading materials in public institutions. Stokely, who served 10 years in prison before undergoing a profound personal transformation through faith in the Lord Jesus, now leads a Houston area Christian ministry called Rectified, focused on mentoring at-risk youth and steering them away from the past that led to his own incarceration. Stokely explained that while incarcerated, he and fellow inmates had books rejected for even minor sexually suggestive content, such as Just a Woman in Her Underwear, Not Even Sexually. In contrast, he said the school books in question contained detailed descriptions inappropriate for children. This comparison, Stokely argues, exposed an illogical double standard. I'm sorry, I just X'd myself out. Adults convicted of serious crimes are shielded from such content for a reason. And I'm going to share with you privately something I wasted my ink on to a book that's in our school system here that I'm going to share with you. I only had one copy made, again, because I don't feel it's appropriate for anybody, but I do want to show you this. So I thank you for your time. I still desire that the school board members get on the book committee and that we change some policies. So thank you.
Mrs. Gash. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So much for signing up first so I could be first. Good afternoon, everyone, and wishing you a blessed and healthy new year. I wanted to thank Hillendale Elementary School and their amazing principal, Dr. Bradley, for choosing to highlight United Way's GEM program, which is hosted not just at Hillendale, but at 9 different schools across our county and the Boys and Girls Club. There's so much good happening, and I love that we open our school board meetings with an opportunity to highlight the bright spots all around us. Yes, we have to tackle the challenges, and the famous quote by James Baldwin comes to mind: not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. And so we face things that need our attention, and we talk about tough issues here. I appreciate that. But we also celebrate the things that we're getting right and that our children are flourishing through. And GEM is one of those. And as some of you know, I followed up my teaching career with a season of volunteering with GEM as a speaker on the topic of confidence and inner beauty. And since August 2025, it has been my absolute pleasure and privilege to be the program manager. GEM, or Girls Empowered, it's a 10-week after-school initiative. Lucy told you a little bit about it. It's for 5th and 8th grade girls, and it's aligned to grade level curriculum. GEM participants spend 5 dedicated 90-minute sessions honing the following life skills: empowerment, perseverance, conflict resolution, confidence, and community service. And through engaging activities, guest speakers, sessions, personal journaling, whole group discussions, and reflection activities, they learn how to value themselves and others, how to advocate for themselves and others, and how to appreciate what makes them unique, beautiful, and capable of attaining their goals. And then we have 2 sessions, the Passion Session and the Women in Leadership Tour, which specifically tailor towards career exploration. Our Passion Session invites 3 professionals from the community to come and speak with the GEM participants. And this year we had surgeons, we had bankers, educators, nurses, artists, engineers, pediatricians, jewelers, dental hygienists, graphic designers, therapists, and police officers, among others, come and speak with our girls. They talk about how they chose their careers and their passion for what they do and the path that took them to where they are today. And we also have our Women in Leadership Tour, where GEM participants visit various locations to see the important role that women play in leading our community businesses and organizations. So it's just such a pleasure and an honor to be part of GEM. And I just wanted to say before closing that the lead ambassadors from North Henderson High School, they actually came and spoke to our GEM girls at Apple Valley, and they did a phenomenal job. And so I'm very grateful to United Way and to the school system and just to this community for supporting GEM. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dash. And that concludes our public comment section. And now we're down to consent agenda. Can anybody give me an update on Mrs. Holt?
She's listening.
Is she listening? Is she on?
Yeah, we can see if she can hear us. Mrs. Holt, can you try and speak?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome, Mrs. Holt. I didn't know you were on. We are down to our consent agenda, and so I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda has been approved. And now we're down to old business. Mr. Taylor, I think the only thing for old business, yes, are our calendars, first reading on calendars. So what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, Mr. Taylor, and the board, I would like first for us to take up the flex calendars, the 26, 27, and 27, 28 flex calendars. Have there been any changes in the calendar since our first reading?
No, ma'am. So the calendars that are being presented tonight are the same calendars that were presented at our meeting last month.
All right, I would like to get a motion and a second on the floor, and then I'll open it up for discussion. Is there a motion?
I move that the Henderson County Board of Public Education approve the 25, 26, and 26, 27 flex calendars for second reading, or 26, 27, 27, 28 flex calendars for second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
When we had talked about, was it May 3rd for the election, that doesn't affect the flex calendar schedule, does it?
So in the calendars for the upcoming 2 school years, both the election days in November and the election day for the primary that would then be in March of 28, those are non-student days.
Okay.
Later on tonight, I also have a revised calendar for this current school year that addresses the primary day in March.
Okay, but it didn't affect these.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries on the 2 flex quarter. And then we have the traditional and early college calendars, the 26 and 7, 27 and 28. Again, I would like to get a motion on the floor, and then I'll open up the floor for discussion.
I move that the Henderson County Board of Public Education approve the 26, 27, and 27, 28 traditional and Henderson County early college calendar for second reading.
There's a second. Okay, I'll open up the floor for discussion. Any discussion? I know we discussed this very, very thoroughly in the first reading, and so, but open it up for discussion again. Anybody has anything they would like to add or take away from our other previous discussions? I just would like to say thank you to the calendar committees for their work and for the school leadership, district leadership team for their schoolwork on these calendars. And understand that from my perspective, that I love the calendar start date. I think it makes perfect sense. I think it works well with aligning to the community college. However, my only concern is that it does not meet the calendar general statute. And, you know, talking about advocacy, I know that, Mr. Garrett, you're looking at trying to work with some people in Raleigh who are connected to some of our legislators to try to get some action on giving our local school board the authority to set its own calendar. And so we need to continue to do that. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Just very quickly, I don't know, and I apologize if you mentioned this, but you may want to just tell the public that the policy does not allow remote voting, so Ms. Holt will not be voting
That is correct.
this evening, so you may want to clarify that, just so
Our
folks know.
policy does not allow for remote voting, so we're sorry, Mrs. Holt, that you won't be able to participate in the vote. I do want to do a roll call vote on this one, however. Ms. Campbell, did you have anything to add?
Just to make it clear that yes, we do, agree that, early start date and the board being able to be in control of those decisions for what's best for Henderson County. Ultimately, the goal comes down to finishing testing by Christmas break. And ideally, I would love to see our calendar be able to reflect that while still following the law. I still, agree. You and I are pretty in the same boat on this one as far as following the general statute and the North Carolina law on this one.
Anyone else?
I think we all did, I think, a fairly good job of explaining where we come from on this. And so, I assume we're all still in the same position that we were last month. So I will definitely be voting in favor of what's best for our families. Yep, I'm ready.
We had one thing, and you might be able to talk Mr. Garrett more on this, but we're slowly getting test results in from tests that we're taking before Christmas, and those have been extremely positive.
So we have seen a very good bounce this year in our secondary or our high school scores that we have received so far. There's a lot of factors in that. A lot of work has gone on the past few years, but I have heard feedback that folks are very happy to have been able to do that before Christmas with a non-hurricane year, because we actually had a boring weather semester, and as a superintendent, I love boring weather semesters. If we're going to have snow, second semester at the beginning is the perfect spot to have snow. So if you've got any connections with the man up above or Mother Nature, either one, we would love you to make sure we get it now and not at the end of the semester. But yes, Ms. Campbell, our raw numbers right now are showing a nice little increase.
Any other discussion, questions? Okay, I'm going to call for a roll call vote, and I'm going to start with you on this side of the table.
Say.
How you vote.
Yeah, you have to just say, I'm sorry. Yeah, you just have to say.
Yes or no for my motion that
from
you
his
seconded?
vote, yeah.
Yes for your motion.
Yes.
I vote to pass it.
Okay, yes, yes,
Yes.
No.
and I'm a no. Motion carries. Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor.
You're very welcome.
You still kind of.
Oh, you're still kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got one more.
You've got one more thing under new business. We have a calendar adjustment for the current school year. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, so also at our meeting last month, as we talked about the calendar, the question came up about our current calendar and the fact that March 3rd, which is a primary day, election day across our state, is scheduled at this time for a student day. And so just the concern from a safety standpoint to have students are in our building when so many of our school sites are used as a polling location. And so what I present to you tonight is a revised calendar for both the traditional early college and flex calendars. that would turn March the 3rd into a required teacher workday. So no students in our buildings on that day across our district, but it would be a teacher workday. So I'll answer any questions that you have about that change.
Only question, and I'm assuming since we've had a boring weather semester, that our hours are going to be plenty to be able to just absorb this day and not add anything at the end of the year.
Yes, right now with, again, the point where we're at and the beautiful weather we've had, we are in great shape when it comes to instructional hours. If for some reason between now and let's just say the end of February that we did get hit, there is some flexibility both within the hours that we have to be able to absorb some more time if need be, but also there is an annual leave day in April that we could look at if needed. So there is still enough flexibility to where we feel comfortable just going ahead and turning it into a workday.
One of the additional things that allows us to have more confidence on this too, Mr. Craven, is should we get into a long weather stint, we could do some remote learning days as well, which count toward those instructional hours. So we've got a lot more flexibility than we had just a few years ago.
We have a motion?
I move that the Henderson County Board of Public Education approve the 25-26 revised traditional / Henderson County early college calendar for the 25-26. Whoa. Revised flex calendar as presented. That was not worded. Is that
Second.
right?
We are revising and making
Something is here.
March 3rd.
I'm missing about 4 words on mine. So
Okay.
I move that the Henderson County Board of Public Education approve the 25-26 revised traditional and Henderson County early college calendar and the 25-26 revised flex calendar as presented.
Second? Second. Any more discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Nay likewise. Okay, now we're on to our child nutrition review. Mr. Rhodes, your turn.
The purpose for tonight is just to give you guys an update. We had spoken to you last year about our child nutrition program, and we told you we would be evaluating the program as we went through the year and be giving you updates. And so that's the purpose of tonight's child nutrition update as we go through. Just again to make you aware, just as a reminder, what our current prices are for breakfast and lunch. It's $1.25, and then also $3.50 and $3.75 for our school lunches. So how are we doing compared to this time last year? Child nutrition has actually generated a small profit as we look through, going through August through November. Mr. Socia just informed me before we came in, our December numbers have come in, and we still have got a slight profit of about $60,000 compared to where we were at last year. With that being said, we continue to anticipate that there's going to be, at the end of the year, an operating deficit in our child nutrition program. Part of that reason is again, once we started getting information in from December, we have those 2 weeks where we're still paying out payroll, but we're not bringing in any revenue. That's also going to be the same thing we're going to experience for the month of June. We're going to be paying out a lot of money, but no revenue coming in. So with that being said, just again, as a reminder, some of the pressure points that we've talked to you guys in the past about, the increased labor cost, also the inflated food prices, and the fact that federal reimbursement rates have not gone up are 3 of the main factors that continue to put our child nutrition program in a place where we're looking at making a recommendation later in the year on how to move forward. There have been some changes to our child nutrition program that have been, from a financial standpoint, have been a positive. The first thing that we would say is that discontinuing universal breakfast from a financial standpoint has been a positive. Also, the fact that last year, just as a reminder, once we came back to school, because we were coming off CEP, there were actually 2 months where we still provided free meals to all of our students. A second factor that we dealt with last year was, again, the hurricane. That created an issue for us as well. We've also been pleasantly surprised with our participation rates. The number of students who are participating in our lunch and breakfast program, those numbers have gone up, which has been a positive. We've also put a plan into place as we start looking at, through attrition in our child nutrition program, to try to reduce the number of full-time employees. We've got a plan of a percentage of what we're looking to reduce that to, and we've been working through that because, again, the cost of benefits is a huge number when you start thinking about what that costs per employee. It's around $17,000 to $18,000 per employee. And then the other factor is that as a board last year, you decided to waive the indirect cost to our child nutrition program. That was $200,000 a year. And so at this point, we've got, again, some positive that the fact that we are $60,000 to the good, that's a whole lot better than where we were at this time last year. But what are the next steps of what we would communicate to you this evening is, number one, we feel like right now it's important for us to continue to monitor these finances as we get through, not just December as those numbers just came in today, but January, February, March. The one thing that we want to do as a leadership team and as our superintendent is anything that we bring to you, we want to make sure that we're confident that if we're going to ask for a price increase for lunches, to put that on families, that we want to get it right and what that's going to be. So as we continue to monitor what those finances look like in December and March, we're going to use all the available data that we have to come to you in April to make a recommendation if April works for you as a board. And so that being said, if you have any questions, we're happy to take them, but we just wanted to give you that update just to kind of let you know where we're at currently in our program. And I know Mr. Soch will be mentioning some of that in his financial report as well.
You mentioned increased participation. We've had increased participation in breakfast, even though we had universal breakfast the previous year.
So they're having breakfast in the classroom in all of our elementaries, which has been a huge benefit. So all of our students in elementary have the ability to eat each morning. So it's not a time constraint for them based on when they get there. So that's been a positive, a huge positive.
Second chance as well.
Second chance, yeah.
So our second chance breakfast that we've got going in all of our high schools has been another positive. There have, again, been a few changes to some of the things that we're offering that have also made a positive difference as well. So, Ms. Hall is working very hard. She has come in. She cares tremendously about this child nutrition program. And we've been just really happy with everything that she has done as the new director here for our child nutrition program.
Quick question, I don't know if you remember this or not. We charge a $1.25 for breakfast. Didn't we charge more than that pre-COVID? Am I right? Or is that the highest it's been?
Not pre-COVID, but there was a brief period after COVID, before we went to universal free breakfast, where we did increase it a little bit more.
To get to a break-even
It was
point?
just that fall semester.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, we know we can't continue losing this kind of money or not covering the costs. We don't want to make money necessarily on the backs of our children eating, but we've got to be able to be self-sustaining. Do you think, guys, April's a good timeline, enough time to warn our parents if we have to do increases?
Well, we're going to have our meeting with Eat Real in February, right? Is that correct? And I know that Sheila had let me know that they had reached out to her to go ahead and schedule a visit as well. So, after going through that in February, that does give us a chance in March to go through all of that and decide.
I think our main purpose as your administrative team is to be able to bring you as confident a number as we can.
Exactly.
As good of a projection for the remainder of the year that we can, so that because if you had to ask us now how much to go up, we would have to estimate high, I'm afraid. So we want to make sure that we get a good, solid number, because we do want to be sustaining, but just sustaining.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for this mid-year update, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Superintendent.
So this next item is for discussion only and came as a result of an email thread and some conversations and questions about a lunch charge donation opportunity. And could one be set up to where folks, if they wanted to help families who were having trouble covering some lunch costs or some excessive lunch charges, would that be an opportunity? Would that be an option? I was able to work and speak with Peggy Marshall, who's the executive director of the Henderson County Education Foundation, and she said that that was something that they could easily set up and have as a separate account for folks to donate. So that was what I wanted to bring you the information of, and just kind of get your idea of how you would like to see that set up, and just go from there. But it would be something, again, that Ms. Marshall said we could do very easily, quickly, and we would be able to push that out as a district. They could push that out as an ed foundation.
Would that just be something that would be on our website and people could just go directly there? I know Ms. Dale had shared All for Lunch, which, you know, going through it looks like a program basically that does that. And you can donate to the school lunch debt. But if we had just a simple link for Henderson County to go, would we put like a running total to give people an idea of what our debt looks like across the district?
So I wouldn't say we would put a running total showing what our debt is, because you wouldn't be able to keep up with that. That would be too arbitrary a number to manage. As far as a running total of how much was donated, that may be something that can be shown publicly. The purpose, again, Ms. Campbell, of me to put this on here is for you to decide. You ought to talk about what you would like to see.
Do we want to see it broken down by school so that if an organization or individual wants to donate to a specific school, do we want to see that, or is it just one donation in general? What are your thoughts? Stephanie, I know you had some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do both. I mean, there are some folks that are dedicated to their schools, and that's kind of what they want to do. So I don't want to prohibit that for them not to give because of that reason. But I think having all the above, once we get those numbers come March or April, would we have a general estimate of what we will be short? And maybe that be the goal of, hey, let's raise this money type thing. Because sometimes when you have a goal, it's easier to get that when they know kind of what you're aiming at. But I think the goal for each of us is that we don't raise prices. I mean, I think the ultimate goal is that we stop charging. We were able to feed our kids, but.
Those are two different lanes. So as far as how much we're going to be projected short as a school nutrition funding, yes, we have that. But that school nutrition plan, that debt has already been incurred. So this will be individual debt that you would be talking about, because what happens is as students incur debt, the schools then get the bill from our school nutrition department, and then they have to write a check back to our central fund for our school nutrition. So ultimately, any donated fund will end up back into that central fund. So if that helps you all understand maybe one donation piece, because it's all going to go to the same place, or if you wanted to break it out into 22 different sites or 23 different schools.
I'm good with singular.
Yeah.
I just don't necessarily want people to be like, oh, I don't.
Well, if there's a way you can drop down and designate if you were like a specific business or an organization or something that wants to specifically say, I want to give this to, Glenn Marlowe. This is where I want it specifically to go to, but not really having it broke down by each school, just to.
As long as they know it all goes.
Yeah.
We're transparent. This is how we're breaking down the system.
So people have always had the opportunity to call a school, right? and
People
to-
have always done that.
Correct, and it has been, yeah.
There are Sunday school classes,
So
sometimes that'll do that.
I think it's
There
good, yeah, it's important to maybe bring some of this to light. We've had a lot of discussion emails and things that, obviously the public doesn't get to see, but there has always been the option where, and people have historically many, many times called schools for whatever reason that they have a tie to it, or they just have heard, whatever, they can call a school and have, in the past, donated a lot of money to individual schools. I think in particular topic that we are discussing, I think a one donation pot would make the most sense logistically. And if they so choose to donate to a individual school, they can absolutely do that. I would just funnel them to maybe that school individually, and they could use their, wonderful donation in whatever way they see fit. I don't want to ever discourage anyone from following their heart to donate money to our schools, but I think for this purpose alone, it would make the most sense and logistically to go, because if a student, and I think you answered this, but just so that we're all on the same page, if a student has a very large outstanding debt, and their family can't or won't pay it, how does that get paid if there's not a donation?
Your point, I pay it? No.
Bernie, that's
You're
so
welcome
sweet.
to. So I think
The
two things.
schools, the individual
School would be
schools,
then responsible.
the lunch charges that are outstanding at the end of the year at each school is what the program sends to those principals. And I was just going to say almost exactly what you were saying before, is that we have had a lot of people in the past that have called up each school and been like, what are your lunch charges for the students? And I think there's, like Mr. Garrett was saying, there's two different lanes here. There's the individual students that owe money for their charges versus the overall program and where it is financially. If we go out and buy an oven and that puts us into debt, are we talking about donations for the oven, or are we trying to pay off the student charges?
But it all ultimately,
Ends up in
one
the
way or
same-
another,
Ends up in the
comes
same
from this, correct?
The student charges all are lumped together
Yeah.
at the district level. I think you made an important note there, Ms. Norman, that I hope the public will hear. If they have been or a part of a group that's been donating to schools, this would not supersede that at all.
No.
Yes.
So we wouldn't want to consolidate that. This would just be an opportunity on a website, through the Ed Foundation, a QR code or something like that.
Streamlined.
That folks could make a contribution to student lunch debt in general.
I think one of the things that we can do, because this was always a thing, especially pre-COVID. Now, after COVID, we had universal lunches, universal breakfasts. We used a lot of the ESSER dollars to supplement and whatever the case may be. And as we're coming out of that and a lot of those federal dollars, we're starting to see over the last couple of years how expensive it is to run 23 restaurants in Henderson County, which is essentially what we do, right? And I think we need to educate folks that we are not paying for all of our kids' lunches and breakfasts like we were then, and just letting them know, because I've had multiple clients that have said, what schools are hurting the worst? And I've called a couple principals, they told me what the balance is, and they went and took them a check and took care of those kids the last week of school, right? But I don't know that a lot of our community, especially that's been 5 years, of what does that look like now for our school system and for our kids? Because quite honestly, I know it's two different lanes, we're gonna have to raise prices. It's coming, or else we're going to, fund balance is gonna be in the $600,000 range. We will be broke by this time next year.
Yes, sir.
Period. And that's this whole separate conversation. But I think educating folks through the Education Foundation, through Kimbrel, through our website, through whatever, on, hey, this is going on, we're back to, we have a fund to help kids that, or families that can't afford school lunches. I think that's a great thing for us to do. But separately, what Scott was talking about, we have got to figure out our 23 restaurants is the overall arching thing we need to figure out as a board.
And I agree. I think that was kind of my, bringing it back up again is, we've talked about it, but then I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. And just the educational piece, the advertisement, letting people know this is a thing, you can do that. And the only reason it came to me was because somebody called me to say, hey, I'd really like to pay some money. What do we do? And it got me looking again. And so I think just having that centralized location where folks know they can go, it is a nonprofit. I do want to be clear too that if a child can't pay for a meal, no child goes hungry. So, I think that needs to be clear, that every child's going to get a meal no matter what. We take care of the kids.
They're going to get the same meal that everybody else.
They will. They will. Yeah, absolutely. And so this is just a way that, Henderson County is amazing. There are so many people here who want to help, who want to do more. Let's make sure they know how to do it. And I think that's the biggest, is just making sure we've got that advertisement.
And can we clear one thing up? Because one of the questions I had gotten was, students at the end of the year, if you have seniors that are getting ready to graduate and they have outstanding debt that they're not going to get to graduate from high school. How does that process work for students who are in that danger zone? And what are we doing as a district to make sure that, money is not prohibiting a student from being able to graduate?
So nobody in debt has their diploma held.
Well, that's why I wanted some clarification verbally on that.
Grades, nor transcripts.
Yes.
Correct.
Mrs. Holt, you have a comment? We can't hear you, Mrs. Holt.
it shows connected right now, but being on a plane, I think the connection's coming a bit in and out.
Okay. Well, Amy, when you,
This will be an ongoing, correct, I mean,
yeah.
So what I would love is for you all to kind of provide us with, I think I'm hearing the consensus of one pot donation for this purpose. And then, so I will work with Ms. Marshall on kind of getting a little draft of what that could look like.
And then
In the
some rules of-
meantime, if folks do want to donate to lunch charges, they can do that to individual schools. Or they can adopt a school or whatever it is they feel like they would like to do. Or we will have more information forthcoming. But this was just a way to get this conversation started, to give us a little direction, to know how to work with the Ed Foundation.
I also want to make sure that you and Peggy talk about disbursement rules and what does that look like and how do we disperse to what schools and what percentages and that whole thing.
Well, Mr. Craven, what I'm hearing and what I like about a one total is that total then would go
Just straight to child
because
nutrition.
that's where it's going to end up anyway.
Amy said, just tell them I wanted to say that food has gotten so expensive is the reason why we have to raise prices.
True.
That is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think labor's bigger, but
Labor
labor is
has-
much bigger than the food prices, but.
Yeah, 40% labor increase.
Yeah.
Well, it's the purpose.
40% labor increase?
Since what year?
Since 21?
40% labor increase.
And they still are underpaid.
Absolutely.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, it's the unfunded mandate from the state that said that, which they should have gotten a raise to $15, but there was no money that came behind it. Plus you have to pay the benefits on top of it of 18 grand per employee. It's just, it gets exponentially bigger when you're running 23 different restaurants. I think one thing that we as a board need to do, I don't think you're going to fix this with just raising prices. You're always chasing your tail, right? I think that there may need to be some outside of the box thinking on some of our school nutrition stuff. And I'll give you one example. Could be popular, could not. I could get whatever. We have 23 schools. Some of them only have 300 and something kids, right? What if we had a more commercialized kitchen that could make meals for multiple schools? Is that something that's ever been thought about in the school industry? I know when I worked in the restaurant industry way back when I was coming out of college, we had one huge central kitchen and we ran, I think, 5 or 6 different restaurants off of it. And many of the, huge resorts, if you ever go to a resort in Bahamas or Vegas or whatever, they all run out of centralized kitchens to send up your room service or to send it to this sandwich shop, whatever the case may be. I think we have to start thinking about these as not just school cafeterias, but as individual businesses. Because they are. We are running, what is the total amount that we run through our school nutrition on a year?
It's over 10 million.
Over $10 million. Chili's down the street doesn't do 10 million. Guarantee it. Shine doesn't do 10 million a year. Guarantee it. West First doesn't do anywhere near $10 million. And so you have to start thinking of them as a business and not just, or else it's going to go away.
A business who just breaks even, not makes profit.
I don't want to make any money, but we're not even coming close to breaking even.
We're not breaking even, and that is coming out of somewhere.
Labor and food.
And so we're going to have to think out of the box. We're going to have to look at many, many different options. I think we're starting next month having a presentation from a group who has done some work in Marietta, South Carolina.
Marietta,
Georgia.
But they've been around in California for several years.
So, I think we're just going to have to look at all possibilities, all options. When we do summer school, we've satellite
Right.
a lot,
Exactly.
it's something we have done before. There's some trade-offs, but
There is. We just have to look at it. We have
we
to.
just got to be
we-
open-minded and look at
something.
everything.
Well, and with our program, are we just set that we have to use certain companies?
So we have to do bids. We go by the procurement bid process because we're a public entity. So, that's one of the things that we're absolutely looking at any and every opportunities that we can. And I really appreciate, again, what Ms. Hall has done already this year But we do not operate or have the leeway to operate like a private business. For example, if I find meat cheaper this week than my supplier gave me last week, we're on a contract, and that contract is publicly bid. And anybody can go into our books and see, what are you spending on this? Who's your supplier for produce? Who's your supplier for milk? Who's your supplier for bread? So we are not able to ebb and flow week to week, or sometimes even really month to month, because we have those yearly and sometimes are 2 and 3 year contracts because of the bid process and the procurement process. That is one thing that as a consortium, Stephanie is keeping, Ms. Hall is keeping a really good eye on, is working on that bid and what are those bids going to come in. The other piece that's really tough is we operate under much more stringent requirements than private restaurants do when we talk about the things that we have to do to get that federal reimbursement. One of the biggest hurdles that we face is that federal reimbursement has not gone up in years.
Right.
It's not gone up in years, folks, from the federal level. So the reimbursement right now does not fully cover what the plate costs, even for a student who fully qualifies for a meal, or families that fully qualify. The state of North Carolina has had the foresight to get rid of reduced. So if you qualify for free or reduced, then there's no cost and we get that reimbursement from them. But, you know, it's really hard to break even when 60% of your meals are coming back at a reimbursement rate from the federal government that doesn't even cover the cost of the plate because of the labor increases and because of the food increases. So we can look at some of those outsourcing and pieces. I have done that in small quantities with a kitchen renovation.
It's a big ask, right?
It's a swap in labor.
Yes.
There's some efficiencies you can get and some that you can't, but certainly we're wide open to looking at any and everything we can because we want to maintain the viability of this program. We don't want to lose this program.
Well, and another part that what part of it are we able to utilize our students, especially in like our high schools? I mean, we have, in our colleges, we have foods and career stuff for them, and as far as cooking and learning, what part of this can we utilize our students and let them be a part of this process?
Child labor to get the prices down.
So let's say we had a student who did qualify. Let's say we got an 18-year-old senior. We could have an 18-year-old senior that might be able to work in a cafeteria. You still have to pay $15.
Yeah.
So your labor cost is your labor cost regardless of if it's an 18-year-old or a 38-year-old who's going to be serving that meal. What we've got to look at is how many people does it take to really effectively serve the number of meals that we're doing. And, you know, we don't want to starve that to death, but we want to get into a good ratio. But, you know, as far as students being able to volunteer and things like that, that's not something that we could get into because of the federal reimbursement and the federal requirements. We don't control. It's kind of like the budget in a way. We need a lot of budget and we control none of the revenue stream. That we don't have a revenue stream is very similar here. We do have a revenue stream, and that's what we got to find is where's that sweet spot. We also have supplemental sales, and some of that information that you're getting is because our supplemental sales have increased. Because if we really just said we don't have any supplemental sales and we took what we're charging for lunch and what it actually costs, we'd have to increase prices probably over $2, which we do not want to do.
And let me just add a couple things. One, we didn't want to get too far in the weeds tonight, but if we have, I know, right? Currently, we have 106 employees in our child nutrition program. We have worked out a plan that we're going to, through attrition, reduce the number of full-time employees by 25%, which is going to be approximately 25 people. 25 to 26 employees at $18,000 each is going to save us approximately $460,000 in employee benefits. And we can still effectively be able to run the child nutrition program, while at the same time, that's going to help reduce the per plate cost. Our per plate cost has got to come down. We've also got some other things we have to do. But if we raise lunch prices and we give you an amount that we're extremely confident in, and we're able to reduce the amount of staff, then when you couple those two things together, then it should put us on a trajectory where we would be in a much better financial shape of not being expected to lose money going into next year. But again, we need these next 3 months to really be able to feel confident about Again, coming back out of the hurricane, coming back off of CEP, so that the data we have is sufficient enough to be able to give you information that you feel confident in as well. Because I will promise you, between me and this gentleman right here and Kelda Livingston, if you knew the amount of hours that we've put into Learning Child Nutrition, it's amazing to think about how much time has been spent trying to figure out some of the things. And Mr. Craven, you bring up some good points. It's like, it is a very complicated process that we're all trying to learn a little bit more about each day.
So
Answers
board
to two
members,
of
I
your
would just
questions.
say if any of us have any ideas or wish to explore an avenue, just let the superintendent or Mr. Rhodes know, and we'll leave no stone unturned.
Can I ask one more clarifying question? Because I may not be right on what I'm thinking, but a Title I school that's a complete Title I school, does everyone in that school get free lunches, even if they can afford, so everybody has to fill out the paperwork, and if your family can afford it, you've got to pay?
So it is, that paperwork is done on an individual student or family basis. And we are not allowed to know who is free and who is not. It's only the school nutrition staff and a very small amount of them who know. So that is confidential information. So yes, being a Title I school is as a result of those forms that have been filled out and the percentages that those bring in. That's how you qualify as a Title I school. It's not the Title I school qualifies you for lunches. It starts at the economic, socioeconomic.
Okay, I just want to make sure it
It's
was,
only elementary.
right? I heard before if you were Title I, that it covered everybody, so I want to make sure that wasn't the
No.
case.
No, so that's the community eligibility provision.
Okay.
Which
He
is
separate.
That's what separate. And that's a federal program through the USDA.
And those schools, all students, the
Yes,
ones that
receive
qualify for
meals.
CEP, all, they don't have to do anything, they just
That's,
automatic.
yes, that's meals at no cost.
But to your point, Ms. Campbell, that's the importance of that free and reduced form being filled out, is because that's what leads to the Title I and all the Title I funding that the elementary schools are receiving.
And also make sure we're not missing kids who qualify and can be eating at no cost.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
See you in a couple minutes.
Well, I always really enjoy Christmas break because I can put things down and not pick them up. But then I always know the Monday after Christmas break, we start talking about budget. So what I bring for you this evening, can you make it big, Grant? Oh. I have faith in you, gentlemen. Watch their magic.
Those PowerPoint skills.
Look at that, how
Okay.
quick that was. So I always bring forward for you in the January meeting our calendar for our budget development. There we go. So kind of looking at what we need to do, and this is for our local funding. Of course, we are still waiting on our state funding for the current fiscal year. Yes, that's.
It's not really funny. We're the last state in the whole union that doesn't have a budget.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's not lost on me as well. But I will give a preliminary forecast at our Board of Commissioners Budget Workshop presentation on January the 21st, where we'll simply focus on being able to maintain everything that we have this year and what that total would need to be in order to do that. Then we will come in as a group to propose that you all will do your work session on February the 19th at 8:30 in the morning. We'll get you breakfast and get rolling. And then a second one on April the 30th. Felt like both of those went well last year. Wanted to kind of get the initial conversations of what are your priorities, really on the capital side, as well as some of the other programmatic pieces that you may want to look at, and to make sure that we have your priorities set when we make our formal request to the Board of Commissioners. April 30th, we would come back in, and at that time, we may have some idea of what the budget will be. DPI last year actually gave us some planning allotments and some numbers. I'm not sure that they will this year, not sure that they're going to be able to. because as it looks right now, we're going forward with this fiscal year's budget based on fiscal '25. So as far as working on fiscal '27, who knows what that may hold for us. You will vote on the final approval of the proposed budget that we will take to the Board of Commissioners on May the 11th, because by statutory decree, they have to receive it by May the 15th. That's the deadline for us to submit it to the Board of Commissioners. So working with the chair and the vice chair on those two dates, one of the things, last couple of years, we have done those at noon prior to the board meetings, and I know that makes for a very long and brain-draining day. And then we also tried to pick some dates that hopefully you'll be able to plan for and plan ahead. So based on what we have been able to look at internally and in discussion with the chair and the vice chair, this is the proposed calendar for our budget development. It does not require a vote, but I do want to make sure that you all are good with those dates so that we can set our calendar and move forward.
Everybody okay with those?
Okay.
What day? On the 30th? Oh, okay. Okay.
So for the public's knowledge, because these are budget workshops, they will be noticed as public meetings and they will be open to the public to attend as well. Any questions? All righty, so we are working hard and we will continue to do that.
All right, Mr. Taylor, you're back up. Changing hats.
You've got to sit a lot today.
What's that?
You've gotten to sit a lot today.
I'm well rested tonight for the capital update. So for tonight's capital update, again, we'll begin with the projects that are being managed in-house with our maintenance department. And so the corridor lighting upgrade at Apple Valley, North Henderson, Upward, and West Henderson, those were the 4 schools that were using the oldest fluorescent lights you possibly can use still. So those have been replaced with LED lighting, and that work was completed over our holiday break in December. The phone system transition continues to go on. We were hopeful that we'd get it knocked out over break, but we're waiting on a transition of getting the phone numbers switched over from AT&T to the company that we are transitioning to. Once those phone numbers are released, then that company is able to get us all set up and going. And then the final one, the softball field sinkhole is in progress, but I do have a couple of pictures to show you where we're at progress-wise. So just as a reminder, this is what that pipe looked like that runs underneath, the stormwater pipe that runs underneath that field, what it looked like and what caused the sinkhole was all of those breaks in the pipe where it was compromised. And so the board approved us to work with new pipe, to put an insert in there that really takes the place of that pipe. All of that piping remains in the ground, but if it breaks away or cracks, it doesn't matter because essentially there is a liner inside of it now. And so over the weekend, that liner was delivered on Saturday, and on Sunday they inserted that liner. So the picture here on the left is where it is connecting where that break was at underneath the sinkhole. And so that runs all the way back to the main road. In terms of on that side. The other side that runs towards the playground on the campus, that side of the piping was not compromised. And so that sleeve or that insert you see there is where it connects the two now. And so the other picture, that's just what the inside of that new pipe looks like. So the next step will be to get a company out there to fill that hole, get it graded back out, and then put sod on it so that it is ready in February when softball season
So we are going to
begins.
sod it.
Yes, we will sod it. Yes.
And then make sure the grading is done well enough so there's not.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and again, that was the benefit of going with new pipe. The concern was if we dig up that entire field to pull out the pipe and put a new pipe in, we'd be chasing that forever and getting it playable for those young ladies. Then in terms of MRTS projects, again, with our bus garage and that new construction, right before the holiday break in December, we had a kickoff meeting out there at the maintenance location where we're going to look to build the new bus garage. So we met with LS3P and their team to look at that site, to look at where we propose putting it. And so the next steps that have started taking place since then is going to be site surveys, both from an environmental standpoint and a boundary standpoint, just to make sure that where we want it is where it can fit, or what size of building can fit there where we want it. The next piece that's going to happen this month is an RFQ is going to be released for a construction manager at risk. And so hopefully by the middle of February, that will go before the county commissioners for approval. The HVAC system at Atkinson, we are still awaiting DPI approval.
Start smiling.
But there's been great communication back and forth with DPI and the engineer for that project. And so after the meeting, Mr. Garrett did reach out to a contact there to see what could be done to help expedite the review process. And within that day, there was communication with the engineer and DPI about the project, DPI having questions, and then once those questions were answered, they actually came back requesting some additional documentation. The engineer is working on that additional documentation and getting it to them. And so it's moving, but still not to the point where we've got that approval so that it can go out for bid.
But we now know it's not just laying somewhere not being.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's good.
Yes, and DPI has been very responsive since that, our last meeting. And then the final one, the HVAC controls replacement project at Sugarloaf, our middle schools, North Henderson, West Henderson. That continues to be in progress, making great progress. The completion date originally when that contract was executed actually is in October. And so there's still a good bit amount of work still to do there, but they are making great progress on it. Questions?
And thermostat controls will not change dramatically. Teachers have a small range in which they can adjust their individual room temperatures, but that's always been the case.
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
Am I correct that we got some kind of an update on the Rugby Bridge project, or no?
Didn't we get the grant?
Yes, we did receive the funding to begin looking at that project and getting it to move forward.
Okay. The other part, we had talked about phone towers near Rugby. Did we get anywhere with that conversation?
So Mr. Massington worked on that and had been working on that actually before he retired in December, and working with Jimmy Brissy to see what we may be able to do. So right now it's one of those things of what's allowed on the tower that is visible from Rugby, who those carriers are, and to make sure that we can get something that would work individualized. Now, we've also worked with Grant, and Mr. Atkins has figured out a way for us to make sure that we do have communication through some satellite phones and some other options that we have so that the public would be able to call in and we'd be able to call out in limited fashion should there be a total loss of the internet there. But yes, so we're working with the county on what that could look like. As far as new towers and all that, there's not been any interest in that. I did tell them that we have a nice little hill right above Rugby that the Board of Education is very interested in providing the opportunity to put a tower, so they do know that as well.
And it's a full county conversation right now too. So there's, it's great because everybody is partnering together on that.
The cross-country team refers to that as Murder Hill.
That's a little extreme, but okay. No kids have been murdered on that hill, by the way, for anybody listening.
As far as running up it.
You've run a 5K on it, you'll know.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Very welcome.
Mr. Sosha, you want to bring us home here with some financial statements?
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers tonight, but being a numbers guy, I like more numbers than words, so we're good. So the first report is through December 31 for local current expense and other restricted funds, just to let you know where we are with that. We have revenues of $22,899,000, and our expenditures are at $20,229,000. Where we're sitting for the year, we're halfway through, and we're at 49% of budget expenditures, so that is a good position for us to be in, certainly. Onto the capital side, Mr. Taylor was talking about where the projects are ongoing right now. What we have paid out is we have paid $1,312,000, and our revenues received so far $1,625,000. Second quarter projects, we paid out just over $400,000 in projects. The biggest one being over there, getting the flooring done that was done earlier this year at West. That got finished up, so we paid almost $200,000 there for that one. And you see what a couple of the other ones are listed. We've mentioned a little bit, now that we're doing the monthly enterprise reports, child nutrition, revenues received, this is only through November, $3,792,000, and expenditures at $3,587,000. So that's a net positive of 204. Not to jump ahead to what next month's report looks like, but as Mr. Rhodes alluded to, right before we came in here, we were able to get the posting of the December USDA reimbursement process through, and the deficit for December is sitting us at only $60,000 for the year, but still a positive at 60 through December. A couple more things may have to get run through their books, but that's about where we are. But that was the slide that we were talking about, that we were waiting for it to show up of when that was going to happen. So
It's an awesome turnaround.
It is, and that's part of the reason, like Ms. Rhodes was saying, that we're monitoring it all, because we're making lots of staffing, programmatic changes, and we're seeing them every month progressively through the year to know.
And our sales have to be really strong right now. Supplementals.
Supplemental has been very good. Lots of positives. Yes, definitely a lot of positives, but to your point, Mr. Craven, it's the underlying way to operate the business. If it costs $5 to make a plate.
That's up $5.
Yeah, so that is
It's that simple. Simple economics.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of that was the changes that the state put on with the wages, which is a good thing, but the federal government reimbursement still sitting at
That is what it is. It's probably
the amount,
what it is.
so. Positive news, and definitely getting the attention that it needs so we can have more positive news for years to come and continue. Child care program through November, revenues at $495,000 and expenditures at $538,000. Sitting there with a receivable still outstanding of a negative of $42,000. Once that receivable comes in, we expect that to be pretty much on a break-even status for the end of November. We just haven't gotten that one received to post it yet, so.
That one's always is in the negative early, and then it picks up at the end of the year.
This is
with summer
they're the
break.
flip. They will look better.
Yeah, it's the opposite of child nutrition.
Do we anticipate any changes in that as far as anything we're going to need to look at?
We're going to continue to monitor, and similarly with child nutrition, to see how the operation is going, and if we anticipate, again, waiting to see what the salaries are going to look like, because we haven't had salary increases this year. So next year could be large, so we would have any kind of recommendation for changes on that in the middle of the spring as well.
Right. I think we're very wise to look at everything every month.
Yeah, that was a good change.
You know, it takes a lot of time. I appreciate that.
He said he loved numbers, if you heard him.
Yeah.
Let's just hope he's good at them.
Mr. Rhodes, this may be a you question, but when we talk about reducing the force by 25% for child nutrition, is some of this going to be retirements? I mean, how are we getting these numbers without?
All through attrition. So when we have turnover, and it just
Not
depends
hiring
on
back.
where the site is. We've been working with Ms. Hall to identify, what is the staff that's needed at each location. And so, again, there's a balancing act here. Because again, when we come out of COVID, it was really hard to find folks who would seek employment without benefits. Some of that has changed now. Some people are looking for part-time work that don't require benefits, and so we're trying to take advantage of that.
Okay, thank you.
And you got to understand, those aren't full positions that are leaving. It's hour reductions and the number of hours to produce those meals. And some folks would work under the cap where they would not earn benefits. So it's just some tweaks here and there where they may be barely over and could get under to save them.
So we don't anticipate having to let people go.
No, ma'am.
No, so let me just say this on record.
Good.
Anyone who has been hired with benefits will not lose them because of this. Only if someone leaves their position and we try to rehire, where it's appropriate, we will reduce the number of hours to save in the benefits when possible.
Through
Yeah,
staff
thank you for
turnover.
clarifying that. Thank
It
you.
would be a very similar staffing ratio to what we had prior to COVID of
Gotcha.
our full-time and part-time staffing.
Okay.
And the hours be the same.
And one
Schuster?
one of the interesting things, Ms. Cantwell, is we're kind of right now just getting into a normal year since 2019. When you look at number, you build up funds, you need to spend those funds down. They had a spend down plan. So we're just now kind of getting into how we probably operated in 2019, just on revenues and all that, except you're doing it now with a 40% increased labor cost.
Exactly.
And I don't know of very many restaurants that would see a 40% labor increase and not go up on prices, and we really haven't.
No, we haven't.
Hopefully, we don't have to any more than we find that we need.
We're gonna have to.
Well, it's looking better. Let's just say that. We're moving in the right direction. Mr. Garrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my pleasure to actually bring it home with our superintendent update. School Board Recognition Month, January, so when we see you out in town, we'll wave. That means recognition, right? So we'll say hello.
Great.
No, but we certainly appreciate all the work that you put in behind the scenes. Obviously, the work that will go into the budget and all those things that are coming up. It's not just one night on a Monday, once a month. So we certainly appreciate all that goes into it and the reading. I actually give y'all a reading assignment about once a week, I think, too. So you're welcome for that. Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday is on January the 19th, next Monday. It's an optional teacher work day and no school for students. January 22nd is our next Superintendent Teacher Advisory Council and also our Superintendent Parent Advisory Council meetings, and that will be here at the central office. January 25th through 31st is National School Choice Week, and we're going to put some things out to show why we're a great choice when it comes to educating K-12 folks, not only in our region, but all across the nation. We have a lot of opportunities to show and highlight not only what we have here, but we'll do that in social media. Kimbrell has some things that will be going out for the National School Choice Week. February is National Black History Month, Love the Bus Month, and Career and Technical Education Month all across the nation. February 2nd is our kindergarten registration. That's when the window opens. That's when the QR code opens. That's when you can register. And I always love to emphasize this. Class of 2039 will be joining us. The class of 2039. I will not ask people in the room what class you were. I was class of 1991. Just to kind of give you an insight. Some of you probably may have been a little earlier and some a little later, but that's okay. But we'll be welcoming that next crop of kindergartners starting February the 2nd. February 2nd through 6th are our National School Counseling Week. We have great school counselors all across this district. When our next school board tours will be February the 4th, when we will visit Fletcher Elementary, Hillendale Elementary, and East Henderson High School. And your next regular business meeting will be at 4 o'clock on February the 9th. I will make sure that we also know that at 2 o'clock you have the opportunity to come in and listen to the presentation from Eat Real. Probably we'll have it set up in here because that will be publicly noticed as well if anybody else wants to sit and hear that presentation from that organization. Then we can move to closed session at 3 o'clock. And then open up for our regular board meeting, business meeting at 4. And before I yield the microphone, ma'am, I'd like to introduce Mr. Pete Barnett. Mr. Barnett has joined us as the Director of School Safety. He's a University of Miami fan, grad, and former athlete. Don't hold that against him. And he comes to us through a storied law enforcement career in a little place in Florida, and a department you may know a little bit about because tell them the department. Former Department of Scott Massington. So we certainly are glad to have Pete join us. I don't know if you have anything you want to share just real briefly, but just wanted to give you all an opportunity to meet him. He has already been drinking from the fire hose when it comes to meeting our many community partners and the folks around the district. He'll have a chance to meet all of our principals tomorrow at our principals meeting, and he's doing an outstanding job. At least he's showing back up every day, so that's a good sign.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Superintendent, Madam Vice Chair, and board members, I do appreciate the opportunity that has been afforded to me to become your next Director of Student Safety. After a storied, nearly 30-year career, I wasn't ready to hang up. We moved up here from South Florida. I'm originally from South Carolina, so I consider this home. My wife and I are excited to be here. I've met some of you. I look forward to meeting the rest of you, working with you. Our mission statement says for the safe environment of the students, so that's why I'm here, and I'm looking forward to my contribution. So whatever Mr. Garrett and y'all deem need, I'm here. So that being said, thank you again for the opportunity.
We're glad to have you, Mr. Barnett. And that concludes my portion this month, ma'am.
Okay. I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.